I was presenting my project to the investor when my daughter-in-law interrupted. "We're going to use my concept. You can forget about this crippled old woman." Everyone applauded her. A week later, the CFO was knocking on my door with documents that would change everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how it really started. Hold on a moment before we move forward. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. And if you're loving these stories, don't forget to hit subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. The conference room on the 7th floor of Chentech Solutions smelled like expensive coffee and desperation. February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day. I stood at the head of our glass table, my cane leaning against my chair, presenting the project I'd spent 8 months developing. 18 people stared at me. Board members, department heads, my son Daniel sitting 3 seats down with that carefully neutral expression he'd perfected. Vanessa, my daughter-in-law, sat directly across in a red power suit, scrolling through her phone. The investors from Cascade Ventures occupied the far end. 2 men in their 50s, 1 woman about my age. They'd flown in from Seattle for this. The $3 million Series B funding round depended on the next hour. Our AI-driven supply chain optimization platform reduces fulfillment costs by 37% in the first quarter, I said. We've run beta tests with 3 manufacturers. The data is conclusive. Marcus Webb, the lead investor, leaned forward. "Walk us through the algorithm architecture." I opened my mouth to explain when Vanessa's voice cut through the room. "Actually, Marcus, I think we should discuss the real presentation." Everyone turned. She stood up, smoothing her skirt, and smiled. "Margaret's concept is outdated. It's based on architecture she developed 18 months ago. The AI landscape has completely changed." My chest tightened. Margaret. Not Maggie, not Mom. "I've prepared an alternative approach," Vanessa continued, plugging her laptop into the projector. "Something that actually reflects current market demands." My slides disappeared. Hers appeared. And I recognized every diagram, every data point, every interface mock-up, because they were mine. Not the slides I'd shown the team. The slides from my private files, the ones saved on my personal laptop in the garage apartment where I now lived. The files I'd been refining for 3 months, working through pain and exhaustion. She'd copied everything, changed colors, altered terminology, rearranged order. But it was my work. 8 months of research and development. "As you can see," Vanessa said confidently, "this approach integrates machine learning with real-time inventory tracking in a way that's actually implementable, not theoretical." Marcus Webb was nodding. The woman investor had stopped checking her watch. I gripped the table edge. "That's my architecture." Vanessa didn't look at me. "Margaret, I know you've been struggling with the transition to advisory role. It's natural at your age to feel territorial." "I developed that system," I said louder. My cane clattered to the floor. No one moved to pick it up. "Margaret." Daniel's voice was quiet but firm, the tone he used when embarrassed by me. "Let's stay professional." Linda, my sister and 12% stakeholder, examined her manicured nails, said nothing. Vanessa clicked to the next slide, my neural network diagrams. "We're calling it the Vision Forward platform." The investors were smiling now, taking notes. "Those are my files," I said. "My research." "Margaret suffers from some memory issues," Vanessa said to the investors, voice dropping to confidential sympathy. "Since the accident last year, it's been difficult for everyone." My face burned. The accident. March 2023. I'd been driving Daniel home when a drunk driver ran a red light. I'd swerved to protect my son, took the impact on my side, shattered kneecap, torn ligaments, 3 months of physical therapy. I walked with a cane now, but my memory was fine. "There's nothing wrong with my memory," I said. "Of course not, Mom." Daniel stood, put his hand on my shoulder. Too much pressure. "But maybe Vanessa's right. Let her finish. We can talk about attribution later." Later, always later. Vanessa continued presenting. My work, my insights, my projections. When she finished, Marcus Webb smiled broadly. This is exactly what we were hoping to see. Ms. Chen, this is impressive work. The room applauded. Linda clapped. Daniel clapped. Richard Thornton, our CFO, sat in the corner. He wasn't clapping. His jaw was tight. I bent down for my cane. No one helped. My knee screamed as I straightened up. I need the restroom, I said to no one. Nobody responded. They focused on Vanessa discussing implementation timelines. My timelines. I walked out, cane tapping the floor. In the hallway, I leaned against the wall. 32 years. That's how long ago Thomas and I had founded this company. We'd worked from our garage, built it into this. Thomas died 3 years ago. Heart attack at 65. Daniel had married Vanessa 2 months after the funeral. In the bathroom mirror, I looked exactly like what Vanessa described. Old, tired, crippled, gray hair in a practical bun, 5-year-old pantsuit, face lined with age and grief and something new, rage. When had I become invisible? I returned to find the meeting ended. Investors shaking hands with Vanessa and Daniel, Linda laughing with Marcus Webb. Richard Thornton waited by the elevator. Maggie, he said quietly. Can I talk to you? Not now, Richard. It's important. Documents. Financial records. I pressed the elevator button. I'm going home. Maggie, there are things you need to know. Things Daniel doesn't even know. The elevator arrived. What kind of things? He glanced down the hallway. Not here. Can I come by tonight? 11 o'clock, after they're asleep. Why are you doing this? Because Thomas was my friend, and because what's happening here is wrong. The doors closed. I drove home to 2156 Willow Glen Way. Vanessa and Daniel lived in the main house now. 4 bedrooms, updated kitchen, the master suite where Thomas died in my arms. I lived in the converted garage apartment. 1 room, kitchenette, bathroom, 45 square meters, used to be Daniel's game room. Inside, I made tea and opened my laptop, navigated to my project files. Timestamps showed last modifications. November 2023. 3 months before Vanessa's presentation. I opened email. 1 new message from Richard, sent at 11:47 p.m. Subject line empty. 3 words. Check your account. I logged into the company financial portal. The joint operating account should have shown $340,000. It showed $67,000. 3 transfers. December 15th, $95,000. January 8th, $102,000. February 1st, $76,000. All approved by Daniel Chen. All sent to an account I didn't recognize. My phone buzzed. Text from Richard. Don't respond to this message. Don't tell anyone what you found. Just wait for me tonight. There's more. Much more. I set the phone down. Outside, Daniel's BMW pulled into the driveway. He opened the passenger door for Vanessa. She stepped out laughing. They went inside together, his arm around her waist. I sat in my garage apartment watching the sun set over the neighborhood where I'd raised my son, where Thomas and I had built a life together. Now I was the crippled old woman with memory problems, the inconvenience to be managed. But Richard had documents, financial records, things Daniel didn't know. For 32 years, I'd protected this company, sacrificed everything, buried my husband and kept working, survived an accident and kept contributing. And this was my reward. I looked at my laptop screen, at the evidence of Vanessa's theft, at the drained bank account, at the message telling me to wait. My family had decided I was disposable. It was time to find out just how wrong they were. Richard Thornton arrived at exactly 11 o'clock. I watched through my window as he parked 3 houses down, walked quickly across the dark street, his collar pulled up against the February cold. I opened the door before he could knock. "Come in," I whispered. He carried a leather messenger bag and looked exhausted. His tie was gone, shirt wrinkled. "I've been going through files for 3 days," he said. "I almost called you a dozen times. Sit down. Do you want coffee?" "No, you need to see this now." He pulled out his laptop and a USB drive. "Maggie, what I'm about to show you, it's bad. Worse than you think." I sat across from him at my small table. Through the window, I could see the main house. All lights were off except the master bedroom upstairs. Richard plugged in the drive and opened a spreadsheet. The $273,000 missing from the operating account? That's just the beginning. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? There are 3 other accounts: client escrow, R&D fund, emergency reserve. All of them show transfers to the same offshore account. Total amount over 18 months, $847,000. I couldn't breathe. 800,000? Cayman Islands. Account opened in January 2023, 2 months before your accident. He turned the laptop toward me. Columns of numbers, dates, amounts. Every transfer was authorized by Daniel. His digital signature is on everything. Daniel wouldn't... Look at the dates, Maggie. Richard pointed to the screen. They correlate exactly with major company milestones. Right after we signed the Peterson contract, $95,000 transferred. Right after the Silverman deal closed, $102,000. Someone's been systematically draining the company every time money comes in. I scrolled through the spreadsheet, transfer after transfer, each one approved by my son. Does he know where the money's going? That's the question. Richard pulled out a folder. These are email printouts between Vanessa and someone named Ryan Caldwell. He's a business consultant, or that's what his LinkedIn says. I opened the folder. The first email was dated March 2023. Ryan, transfer complete, $78K cleared. Daniel signed without reading. He trusts me completely. This is easier than I thought. V. My hands started shaking. Keep reading, Richard said quietly. V. Good. Stay patient. Build the offshore reserve to $1 before making any moves. The property in Phoenix is perfect. Once the Series B closes, you can finalize everything. RR. What about the mother? She's asking questions about the budget. Daniel says she's paranoid, but I'm worried. V. Handle her carefully. If she becomes a problem, we discussed options. Memory care facilities are expensive but effective for neutralizing interference. RI dropped the papers. Memory care facilities? There's more. Richard handed me another document. This is a consultation request Vanessa sent to Sunrise Manor, dated January 15, 2024. 1 month ago, I read the form. Patient name, Margaret Chen, age, 64. Condition, early stage dementia, mobility issues, requires supervised care. Contact, Vanessa Chen, primary caregiver and medical power of attorney. I don't have dementia, I whispered. I know. But if she can convince people you do, she can have you committed. And once you're in memory care, you have no legal standing, no access to company accounts, no vote on the board, nothing. Daniel signed off on this? Richard's jaw tightened. I don't think he knows. The power of attorney document was filed last April, right after your accident when you were on heavy pain medication. Do you remember signing anything? I tried to think back. Those first weeks after the accident were a blur. Pain, medication, physical therapy. Vanessa had been helpful then, bringing me meals, helping with paperwork, explaining insurance forms. She brought me documents, said they were for insurance. I signed them. Medical power of attorney gives her control over your healthcare decisions, including involuntary commitment. I stood up, paced to the window. In the main house, a light came on in the kitchen. Someone was awake. Why are you showing me this, Richard? You could lose your job. Thomas was my best friend. When he died, I promised him I'd look after the company, look after you. He rubbed his face. I've been noticing irregularities for months. Small things. Budget discrepancies, missing documentation. Then 2 weeks ago, I found the offshore account by accident. I've been investigating since. Does anyone else know? Just you and me, and whoever Vanessa is working with. I watched the kitchen light. A silhouette moved past the window. Vanessa, getting water. My sister, Linda. She sits on the board. She saw what happened in that meeting. She said nothing. Richard nodded slowly. I checked Linda's accounts, too. She received $30,000 in January, deposited directly from an LLC registered in Delaware, the same LLC that manages Vanessa's offshore account. Linda's involved? Linda's been paid to stay quiet. The kitchen light went off. Darkness again. What do? Document everything. Don't confront them yet. Vanessa's planning something, and if you tip her off before we know the full scope, she'll accelerate. He handed me the USB drive. This has copies of everything. Financial records, emails, the Sunrise Manor consultation, all of it. Keep it somewhere they can't find it. How long do I have? The Series B closes in 6 weeks. If Vanessa's planning to leave with the money, that's when she'll make her move. Right after the $3 million hits the account. I took the drive. It was small, silver, heavy with the weight of betrayal. Thank you, Richard. There's one more thing. He hesitated. Your presentation today. The one Vanessa stole. I need you to go to the office tomorrow and check the conference room trash. Don't let anyone see you. Why? Just trust me. 3rd floor conference room. Early. Before anyone arrives. After Richard left, I couldn't sleep. I sat at my laptop going through the files on the USB drive. Email after email. Transfer after transfer. 18 months of systematic theft. 18 months of planning to erase me from the company Thomas and I had built. At 5:30 a.m., I drove to the office. The building was empty, security guard nodding at me as I signed in. I took the elevator to 7, then walked down the back stairs to 3. The conference room smelled like stale coffee. I turned on the lights and went to the large trash bin near the presentation screen. Inside, buried under coffee cups and discarded printouts, I found them. My original sketches. The hand-drawn diagrams I'd made months ago when first conceptualizing the system. Detailed notes in my handwriting, mathematical calculations, all ripped into pieces, but not destroyed carefully. Whoever tore them up had been angry, careless. I could still read fragments. See my signature at the bottom of one page, the date, August 2023. I gathered every piece and put them in my bag. On my way out, I passed Daniel's office. The door was open. Inside, I saw a cardboard box on his desk. I stepped closer. The box contained my belongings, my nameplate from when I had an office on this floor. Photos of Thomas, my engineering award from 2015, a coffee mug Daniel had given me years ago that said, "World's Best Mom." They were packing me up, erasing me. I left the building and sat in my car in the parking garage. The torn sketches were in my bag, the USB drive in my pocket, evidence of theft, fraud, conspiracy. My phone buzzed. Text from Daniel. "Mom, we need to talk today. Can you come by the house at 2 p.m.? Important family discussion." Family discussion. I wondered if Vanessa would be wearing red again, if Linda would sit silently while they explained why I needed professional care, if Daniel would look me in the eye while signing the papers. I drove home and waited. At 1:30, I walked across the yard to the main house and knocked on my own front door. Vanessa answered. She smiled warmly. "Margaret, come in. We're so glad you could make it." The living room had been rearranged. My favorite chair, the one Thomas bought for our 30th anniversary, was gone, replaced with a modern leather sofa. Daniel sat on that sofa. Linda sat next to him. On the coffee table were documents in a neat folder. "Sit down, Mom," Daniel said. His voice was gentle. Too gentle. I remained standing. "What's this about?" Vanessa sat in the armchair, crossed her legs. "We've all been talking about your well-being, about what's best for you going forward." "We're worried," Linda added. She wore a concerned expression that looked rehearsed. Daniel picked up the folder. "Mom, yesterday's incident at the presentation was difficult for everyone. Your confusion about the project development, your accusations, I wasn't confused. Vanessa stole my work. See, this is what we mean." Vanessa's voice stayed calm, patient, like talking to a child. These paranoid thoughts, the memory issues, the aggression. "Dr. Morrison thinks you need professional evaluation." "Who's Dr. Morrison?" "A geriatric psychiatrist. He's reviewed your case based on our observations. He's recommending a comprehensive assessment at Sunrise Manor. They have excellent facilities for people experiencing cognitive decline." I looked at my son. "You're trying to commit me." "We're trying to help you," Daniel said. "The accident changed things, Mom. You're not yourself anymore. We found a place where you can get the care you need." "I don't need care. I need my son to believe me." Linda opened her purse and pulled out a brochure. Sunrise Manor. Beautiful grounds, smiling elderly people, professional staff, $200 a month, she said. We've already arranged financing. With my money, I said. The money you've been stealing. Silence. Vanessa uncrossed her legs and leaned forward. Margaret, these delusions are exactly why you need help. You're imagining conspiracies, making accusations. It's textbook paranoia. I have proof. Proof of what? Daniel stood up. Mom, please. We're trying to do this gently. Don't make it harder. I looked at the three of them. My son, my sister, my daughter-in-law, united against me. A wall of concern masking calculation. I'm not signing anything, I said. You don't have to, Vanessa said. She held up a document. I have medical power of attorney. Dr. Morrison has already signed the evaluation order. You'll be going to Sunrise Manor on Monday for a 72-hour assessment. That's involuntary commitment. That's necessary intervention. She set the document on the table. The ambulance will arrive at 9 a.m. Pack a small bag. Nothing valuable. They'll provide everything you need. I looked at Daniel. You're letting her do this? He wouldn't meet my eyes. It's for your own good, Mom. I walked out. Behind me, I heard Vanessa say, she'll thank us eventually. They always do. Back in my garage apartment, I sat at the table and called the one person I trusted. Richard answered on the first ring. They're trying to commit me, I said. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Christ. Okay, listen carefully. Tomorrow's Friday. We have the weekend. I'm calling my attorney. We're going to fight this. How? By showing them exactly who they're dealing with. His voice was hard. Maggie, it's time to stop hiding. It's time to fight back. I looked at the USB drive on my table, at the torn sketches in my bag, at the brochure for Sunrise Manor that I'd taken from Linda's purse while they weren't looking. Monday, they expected me to go quietly, to disappear into memory care, neutralized and silenced. They had no idea what was coming. Friday morning came with rain. I sat in my garage apartment watching water streak down the window, my phone silent on the table. Richard had said he'd call with the attorney's information. That was 12 hours ago. I'd tried calling him twice. Voicemail both times. At 9 a.m., I walked to the main house. The door was locked. I used my key, the one I'd had for 32 years, the one that still worked because no one had bothered to change the locks yet. The house was empty. Daniel's car gone from the garage, Vanessa's Mercedes missing. On the kitchen counter, I found a note in Vanessa's handwriting. Margaret, we've gone to Santa Barbara for the weekend. Family emergency. The refrigerator is stocked. Please don't go through our personal items. See you Monday morning. V family emergency. They'd left town the weekend before my involuntary commitment. Convenient. I opened the refrigerator. One shelf had been designated for me. Cheap frozen dinners. $2.49 each. The price sticker still on. Turkey, Salisbury steak, meatloaf. The food I'd eaten growing up poor in Sacramento. The food I'd sworn I'd never have to eat again after Thomas and I built something better. The rest of the refrigerator held organic produce, expensive cheeses, wine that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. I took a frozen dinner back to my apartment and heated it in the microwave. It tasted like cardboard and regret. My phone rang. Finally, I grabbed it. Not Richard. Linda. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Margaret, she said. Her voice was strained. I need to talk to you. About how you took $30,000 to stay quiet. Silence. Then, how did you... Never mind. Can I come over? To the garage apartment? Or am I still allowed in the main house? Don't be dramatic. I'm 10 minutes away. She hung up before I could respond. Linda arrived in her white Lexus, parked in the driveway like she owned the place. She knocked on my door wearing a cream cashmere coat and gilt. Come to make sure I'm packing for Monday? I asked. She stepped inside, looked around at my 45 square meters. God, Maggie, I didn't know it was this small. Yes, you did. You helped them move my furniture out here. She flinched. Can I sit? I gestured to the chair across from my small table. She sat, carefully, like the furniture might be contaminated. I came to tell you something, she said. Something you need to know before Monday. That you betrayed me for $30,000? Her face reddened. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Linda? She looked at her hands. Her diamond bracelet caught the light. Vanessa approached me last year, said the company was in trouble, said you were making bad decisions, refusing to adapt, costing us opportunities. She said if we didn't intervene, Chentech would collapse and we'd all lose everything. So you took her money. She called it a consulting fee, for helping transition leadership to the next generation. She made it sound reasonable, Maggie. Necessary. And yesterday, in that meeting, watching her steal my work and call me senile? That seemed reasonable too? Linda's eyes filled with tears. Real ones, I thought. I didn't know she'd taken your project. I swear I didn't know until I saw those slides. And by then, what could I do? The investors were there. The deal was happening. If I'd objected, I would have looked like a decent human being? She wiped her eyes, mascara smearing. I came here to warn you. Vanessa's planning something bigger than Sunrise Manor. My chest tightened. What do you mean? I overheard her on the phone last night. She was talking to that consultant, Ryan. She said, once the old woman is committed and the Series B clears, we finalize the Phoenix transfer. Daniel won't know until it's done. Phoenix transfer? There's a property there. A house Vanessa bought last year. Barcer, $2 million. I didn't know where the money came from until now. Linda leaned forward. Maggie, she's planning to leave him, take the money and disappear. Does Daniel know? I don't think so. He thinks they're building a future together. He has no idea his wife has been planning an exit strategy for over a year. I stood, paced to the window. Rain was falling harder now. Why are you telling me this? Because you're my sister. Because despite everything, I don't want to see you locked up in memory care while that woman destroys what you and Thomas built. She stood, pulled an envelope from her purse. This is a check for $30,000, the money she paid me. I want you to have it back. I took the envelope. Inside was a check made out to me, signed by Linda Chen. I can't undo what I did, she said, but I can stop being part of it. If you need me to testify, to tell the board what I know, I will. You'd lose your shares. I'd lose my sister if I don't. She moved toward the door. There's something else. Richard Thornton called me this morning. Asked me to meet him at his office tomorrow at 10 a.m. He said it was urgent, about company finances. Did you talk to him? Yes. Is he helping you? I think so. I hope so. Linda nodded. Good. You need someone on your side. She paused at the door. I'm sorry, Maggie. I'm so sorry. After she left, I sat holding the check. $30,000. Blood money, guilt money. But also evidence that Linda was breaking ranks, that the wall around me had its first crack. I tried calling Richard again. Still voicemail. The rest of Friday passed in silence. I ate another frozen dinner, watched rainfall, went through the files on Richard's USB drive again, memorizing every detail. Every transfer, every email, every piece of evidence. Saturday morning, Richard finally called. Where have you been? I asked. Working. Listen, I can't talk long. I've gotten threats. Someone hacked my email, sent messages to the board claiming I'm embezzling funds. It's obviously Vanessa covering her tracks, but I need to be careful. Linda came to see me. She said you asked her to meet today. I did. I'm building a coalition, Maggie. Board members who'll listen to evidence. But I need you to do something. What? Stay invisible this weekend. Don't confront anyone. Don't give Vanessa any reason to accelerate her timeline. Can you do that? They're committing me Monday morning. I know. We'll stop it. My attorney is filing an emergency injunction Sunday night. But until then, you need to disappear. Can you go somewhere? Not the apartment. Somewhere they can't find you. I looked around my small space. Where? Janet Reeves, Thomas's sister. She lives in Sacramento, right? Go there. Tell no one. I'll call you Sunday with updates. Richard, trust me, Maggie. One more weekend. Then we fight. He hung up. I packed a small bag, clothes, laptop, the USB drive, Linda's check. At noon, I got in my Honda and drove north toward Sacramento. 3 hours through rain, my phone turned off. Invisible. Janet lived in a modest house in East Sacramento. She'd been Thomas's younger sister, my friend for 34 years. When I knocked on her door, she took one look at my face and pulled me inside. "What happened?" she asked. I told her everything. The presentation, the theft, the offshore accounts, the commitment order. She listened without interrupting, her face hardening with each detail. "That woman is trying to erase you," Janet said when I finished. "I know. Thomas would be furious. I know that too." She made tea and we sat in her living room. Photos of Thomas covered the walls. Thomas as a boy. Thomas at his wedding to me. Thomas holding infant Daniel. A whole life preserved in frames. "Do you remember when Thomas first told me he was starting a company?" Janet asked. "I thought he was crazy, leaving a stable job to chase some dream. But you believed in him. You worked 2 jobs so he could focus on the business. You kept the family afloat while he built something from nothing. We built it together." "Exactly. Together. And now his son is letting some manipulative woman take it all away." She set down her tea. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. Richard says he has a plan. But Monday morning, if that ambulance shows up..." "You won't be there. You'll be here." "Janet, I can't drag you into this." "You're not dragging me anywhere. I'm volunteering. Thomas would want me to protect his wife, and that's exactly what I'm going to do." That night, I slept in Janet's guest room. For the first time in months, I felt safe. No one watching through windows. No one waiting for me to make a mistake. Just silence and the sound of rain. Sunday morning, Richard called. "The injunction is filed," he said. "Judge will review it first thing Monday morning. But there's something else. Something I need to show you, but not over the phone." "What is it?" "Meet me at my office at 3 p.m. today. Come alone. Don't tell anyone, not even Janet." "Richard, what's going on?" "Just trust me. 3 p.m. And Maggie, bring the USB drive I gave you. We need to compare it with something I found last night." He hung up before I could ask more questions. At 2:30, I left Janet's house and drove back to San Jose. Richard's office was in a small building on the Alameda, separate from Chen Tech. I parked behind the building and took the back stairs to the 3rd floor. Richard's door was unlocked. I pushed it open. The office was dark. Papers were scattered across his desk. His laptop open, screen glowing. "Richard?" No answer. I stepped inside, closed the door, moved toward his desk. On the laptop screen was an email. "Margaret needs to understand the full scope. Everything connects. The offshore account, the Phoenix property, the commitment order. But there's more. Much more. She needs to see the complete picture before she can fight back. Meet me at the specified location. Come alone. R." But the email wasn't from Richard. It was to Richard. Sent from an encrypted account. I heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, unfamiliar. The door behind me opened. I turned. A man stood there. Tall, expensive suit, cold eyes. I'd never seen him before. "Mrs. Chen," he said, "we need to talk about your future." The man in the expensive suit stepped closer. "I'm Ryan Caldwell. I believe you've read my emails." I backed toward Richard's desk. "Where's Richard?" "Parking garage. He'll be here in 3 minutes. I wanted to talk to you first." Ryan closed the door behind him. "Mrs. Chen, you're a smart woman. Smart enough to know when you're beaten." "I'm not beaten." He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "You're 64 years old, living in a garage, about to be committed to memory care. Your son has turned against you. Your company is being sold out from under you. I'd call that beaten." "Sold? Vanessa didn't tell you?" "Of course not." He sat in Richard's chair, completely comfortable. "Chen Tech Solutions is worth approximately $18.5 million. With the Series B funding, that jumps to $22 million. There's a buyer in Phoenix, tech conglomerate looking to expand into logistics AI. They're offering $24 million, all cash, closing within 90 days. My legs felt weak. Daniel would never agree to that. Daniel will agree to whatever Vanessa tells him to agree to. She's been grooming him for this since before Thomas died. Every decision, every signature, every transfer, she's been positioning herself to take complete control. Ryan opened a folder on the desk. The offshore account currently holds $847,000. After the sale closes, Vanessa's cut is $8.4 million. My fee is $2 million. The Phoenix property is already in her name. By the time anyone realizes what happened, we'll be gone. And Daniel? Gets his share of the sale, about $7 million after taxes and debts. He'll be fine, heartbroken when his wife leaves him, but financially comfortable. You're destroying my family for money. I'm facilitating a business transaction. Your family destroyed itself. I'm just capitalizing on the wreckage. He stood. I came here to make you an offer. Drop your opposition to the Sunrise Manor commitment. Stop asking questions. Let Monday happen quietly. In exchange, I'll make sure you're comfortable. Private room, good care, visits from your granddaughter if Daniel ever has kids. Vanessa was going to stick you in the state facility. I convinced her that's unnecessarily cruel. How generous. It's pragmatic. Guilty conscience is expensive. This way, everyone gets something. He pulled out a document. Sign this. It's a release waiving any claims against the company or its officers. Do that, and I'll make sure your last years are peaceful. And if I don't? Then you spend Monday in a psychiatric ward. 72-hour hold, mandatory medication, full evaluation. By the time you're released, the Series B will have closed, the sale will be in motion, and you'll have no legal standing to stop anything. Courts don't listen to people who've been committed. The door burst open. Richard stood there, breathing hard. Get away from her. Ryan didn't move. Mr. Thornton, right on time. I told you to leave Maggie out of this. And I told you that's not possible. She's the only obstacle left. Ryan looked at me. Did Richard tell you his part in all this? What's he talking about? I asked Richard. Richard's face was pale. Maggie, I can explain. Explain what? Ryan smiled. Richard's been taking consulting fees too. Not as much as Linda, only $15,000, but enough. He came to me 6 weeks ago, said he wanted out, said his conscience couldn't handle it. I told him the only way out was to help us finish this cleanly. You're lying, I said. Am I? Ryan pulled out his phone, showed me a bank statement. Richard Thornton, 3 deposits, December, January, February, $5,000 each. Richard looked at the floor. It's not what you think. Then what is it? I took the money to build evidence. Every payment they made me was another transaction I could trace, another connection I could prove. I've been documenting everything, Maggie, building a case. Or covering your own ass, Ryan said. Either way, you're complicit. You signed off on every audit report. You verified every financial statement. You told the board everything was fine. Because you threatened my family, Richard said. His voice broke. You said if I went to the authorities, you'd make sure my daughter was implicated. She works in the accounting department. You said you'd plant evidence of her involvement. And I will, if necessary. Ryan put his phone away. So here's what's going to happen. Mrs. Chen signs the release. She goes quietly to Sunrise Manor on Monday. Richard continues his role as CFO through the sale. Everyone gets paid. Everyone moves on. No, I said. Ryan's expression hardened. I'm sorry? I said no. I'm not signing anything. I'm not going anywhere. And you're not selling my company. You don't have a choice. Actually, I do. I pulled out my phone. You see, while you were giving your villain speech, I was recording. Every word, every admission, every threat. Ryan lunged for my phone. Richard blocked him, shoved him back. Maggie, send it, Richard said. Send it now. I forwarded the recording to 3 email addresses. My attorney, the SEC, and Daniel. Ryan's phone buzzed. He looked at it and his face went white. You stupid woman. Do you have any idea what you've just done? Started fighting back. He moved toward the door. This isn't over. Vanessa will what? Richard stepped in front of him. Make more threats? She's done. You're done. That recording is already in the hands of federal investigators. You can't prove anything. It's my word against hers. Actually, I can prove everything. Richard opened his desk drawer and pulled out a second USB drive. This one was blue, smaller than the first. Encrypted backup of every file, every email, every transaction, including the ones you thought you'd deleted, including communications with the buyer in Phoenix, including the forged medical evaluations for Maggie's commitment. Ryan stared at the drive. That's impossible. I personally scrubbed those servers. You scrubbed the company servers. You didn't know I'd been running a shadow backup to my personal system since January. Every keystroke, every login, every file transfer, all of it. My phone rang. Daniel. I answered. Hello. Mom. His voice was shaking. What the hell is this recording? What's going on? Your wife is stealing the company and trying to commit me to memory care. That's what's going on. That's insane. Vanessa would never... Listen to the recording again, Daniel. Listen to every word. Then decide who's insane. I hung up. Ryan was at the door. You'll regret this, all of you. Get out, Richard said. Before I call the police. Ryan left. The door slammed behind him. I collapsed into a chair. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my phone. Did that really just happen? That really just happened. Richard sat across from me. Maggie, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about the money. I should have told you from the beginning. Why didn't you? Because I was scared. Because I have a 22-year-old daughter who's trying to build a career and I couldn't risk her future. Because I'm a coward. He put his head in his hands. Thomas would be ashamed of me. Thomas would understand. He always said family comes first. I looked at the blue USB drive. What else is on there? Everything, including something you need to see. He plugged the drive into his laptop and opened a folder. These are emails between Vanessa and Daniel from the last 3 months. I didn't want to read them, but I had to know. The first email was dated December 1st, 2023. Daniel, I know this is hard. I know you love your mother, but she's not the woman she used to be. The accident changed her. She's paranoid, aggressive, making accusations that aren't true. The doctors agree she needs professional help. I need you to trust me on this. Trust us. We're building something beautiful together, and we can't let her destroy it. V. Vanessa. You're right. I see it too. Mom's been different since Dad died. Angrier, more suspicious. Maybe Sunrise Manor is the right choice. I just hate the idea of putting her there. D. Daniel. It's not putting her anywhere. It's getting her the help she needs. And once she's stable, we can focus on growing the company, on our future, on the family we're going to build. I love you. V. I scrolled through more emails. Daniel agreeing to transfer funds. Daniel signing power of attorney documents. Daniel authorizing the commitment evaluation. Every step documented. He knew, I whispered. He knew what she was doing. Not everything, but enough. Richard closed the laptop. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I thought about Daniel as a little boy, the son I'd raised alone after Thomas died, the man I'd sacrificed everything for, the person who was now actively helping his wife erase me. I want justice. That's going to cost him too. He signed those documents. He's legally liable for the fraud. I know. Richard pulled out a business card. This is Marcus Chen. No relation, unfortunately. He's a tax attorney who specializes in corporate fraud. I've already briefed him on the basics. He's waiting for your call. I took the card. The edges were sharp against my fingers. There's something else, Richard said. Something that happened this morning. GreenLogix, the company Vanessa presented to last month? They canceled their contract. $1. $2 million deal, gone. Why? Their CTO did some checking, found out the optimization algorithm Vanessa pitched was plagiarized, found your name on the original research papers. They don't work with companies that steal intellectual property. Richard smiled grimly. Word is spreading. Vanessa's been calling clients all morning trying to contain the damage. She's panicking. Karma. Small but real. When's the Series B supposed to close? I asked. April 1st. 5 weeks from now. And the sale to Phoenix? Can't happen without board approval, which means your vote matters. And Linda's, if she's really switching sides. I stood up. My knee protested, but I ignored it. Richard, I need to make a call. Now? Right now. I dialed Marcus Chen's number. He answered on the second ring. Mr. Chen, this is Margaret Chen. Richard Thornton gave me your number. I need you to do something first thing tomorrow morning. What's that, Mrs. Chen? I want a complete forensic audit of Chen Tech Solutions. Every account, every transaction, every document, going back to January 2022, and I want it done fast. That's expensive. We're talking $50,000 minimum. I thought of Linda's check for $30,000. My savings account with $18,000. I'll find the money. When do you want to start? Tomorrow, 6 a.m., before anyone knows what's happening. Consider it done. I hung up and looked at Richard. Now we wait. For what? For Monday morning. For the ambulance that's not going to find me. For Vanessa to realize she's lost control. I picked up the blue USB drive. For my son to decide who he really is. Richard nodded slowly. Thomas would be proud of you. Thomas would be furious this happened in the first place. I moved toward the door. But he'd also tell me to finish it, to protect what we built. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Outside, the rain had stopped. Evening sun broke through clouds, turning everything gold. I got in my Honda and drove back to Janet's house in Sacramento. Tomorrow, the war would start. Tomorrow, I'd stop being the victim. Tomorrow, I'd remind everyone exactly who built Chen Tech Solutions and what happened to people who tried to steal it. Monday morning, 9 a.m., I sat in Janet's living room watching my phone. Richard texted at 8:47. Ambulance just arrived at your apartment. Vanessa is there. Looks confused. At 9:03, she's calling someone, yelling. At 9:15, ambulance leaving empty. Vanessa still searching your place? I smiled. Let her search. The USB drives were with me. The evidence was already with Marcus Chen and the SEC. At 10 a.m., Marcus called. Mrs. Chen, preliminary audit is complete. $847,000 in unauthorized transfers, plus $215,000 in fabricated expenses. Paper trail leads directly to Vanessa Chen's offshore LLC. Can you prove it? Without question. I've called an emergency board meeting for 2 p.m. All members required. At noon, I drove back to San Jose. Janet insisted on coming. Moral support, she said. We arrived at Chen Tech at 1:45 p.m. Marcus met us in the lobby. Mrs. Chen, are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. Good. Let me do most of the talking. You're here as a shareholder exercising your rights. We took the elevator to 7. The large conference room was already full. Daniel sat at one end, tie loosened, looking like he hadn't slept. Linda sat across from him, face drawn. 3 other board members occupied middle seats. Vanessa stood at the head of the table in a black suit, arms crossed. When I walked in, her expression didn't change. Cold, calculated. Margaret, she said. What a surprise. I'm available for this. I sat down. Janet took the seat beside me. Who's he? Vanessa gestured at Marcus. Marcus Chen, tax attorney. I'm representing Mrs. Margaret Chen as primary shareholder and co-founder. Attorneys aren't authorized unless a board member requests investigation into financial irregularities, which Mrs. Chen did at 6 a.m. Marcus set his briefcase down. Shall we begin? Daniel looked at me. His eyes were red. Mom, what's going on? The truth, Daniel. Finally. Marcus distributed folders to each board member. Over 18 months, $1,062,000 was transferred from Chen Tech accounts to an offshore holding in the Cayman Islands, all authorized by Daniel Chen, all directed to an LLC owned by Vanessa Chen. Vanessa's face remained calm. Those were approved operational expenses. Operational expenses to what? Marcus asked. The LLC has no employees, no office, no business purpose. It exists solely to receive funds. That's a mischaracterization. There's also intellectual property theft. Marcus clicked his laptop. The projector showed my original project files. Timestamps, revision histories, everything. These files belong to Margaret Chen. Created August 2023 to January 2024. On February 14th, Vanessa Chen presented this work to investors as her own. Margaret was confused. I have recordings that say otherwise. Marcus played Ryan Caldwell's voice from Sunday. Every word, every threat, every admission. The room went silent. Daniel stood up. That's Ryan. Vanessa, who the hell is Ryan? A business consultant, Vanessa said quickly. He was helping you steal the company, Marcus corrected. There's evidence of a planned sale. Chen Tech to Phoenix Logistics Group for $24 million. Were you aware of this, Mr. Chen? Daniel's face went white. What? Your wife has been negotiating to sell this company without board approval. Her projected profit? $8. $4 million. That's a lie, Vanessa said, her hands clenched. This is a coordinated attack by a woman with cognitive decline. I have the emails, Marcus interrupted. Between you and Ryan Caldwell. Between you and Phoenix buyers. Would you like me to read them? Vanessa's mask cracked. Those are private, obtained legally through company IT systems. Marcus turned to Daniel. Mr. Chen, did you know your wife filed for medical power of attorney over your mother last April? What? No. Did you know she scheduled an involuntary psychiatric commitment for today? Daniel looked at Vanessa. Tell me that's not true. She opened her mouth, closed it. Daniel, you have to understand. Your mother was becoming dangerous. By stealing from us? Daniel's voice rose. By lying? By planning to sell my father's company? Our company, Vanessa corrected. My parents built this. You just married into it. Daniel pulled out his phone. I got an email this morning. Want to know what it said? Vanessa's face went rigid. Daniel read from his screen. Vanessa to Ryan, February 28th. Daniel is a useful idiot. Keep signing whatever I put in front of him. The marriage was always temporary. Once the Phoenix sale closes, I'm filing for divorce. He'll be devastated, but rich enough to get over it. Silence except for the air conditioning hum. Tell me you didn't write that, Daniel said. His voice broke. Vanessa looked at him. For a moment, something that might have been regret. Then it was gone. You were never supposed to see that. But you wrote it? You were planning to leave me? Daniel, this is business. Don't take it personally. Don't take it. He stopped. Laughed hollowly. You destroyed my relationship with my mother. You stole from my family. You were going to commit her. And I'm not supposed to take it personally? You were weak, Vanessa said coldly. Your mother was weak. This company was failing. I did what needed to be done. You did what benefited you, Linda said. She'd been quiet until now. I was part of it. I took your money, but I'm done. She looked at me. Maggie, I'm voting with you. Whatever you need. Daniel sat down heavily, put his head in his hands. Mom, I'm so sorry. I wanted to comfort him, but I stayed seated. Did you know about the offshore accounts? No. I signed the transfers, but Vanessa said they were for tax optimization. I trusted her. Did you know about the commitment order? Not until yesterday. I called Vanessa last night. She convinced me it was for your safety. I believed her. He looked up. Tears on his face. I'm so stupid. Not stupid, I said quietly. Manipulated. Vanessa laughed. This is pathetic. Daniel, are you really going to let your mother turn you against me? What future? Daniel stood. The one where you divorce me and disappear with millions? I gave you everything. You gave me lies. Marcus cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, these transfer authorizations, did you read them before signing? Daniel hesitated. Some of them. That's going to be a problem. Legally, you're as liable as she is. Your signature is on every document. What does that mean? It means if criminal charges are filed, you'll be named as co-conspirator, unless you cooperate fully. Provide testimony, internal communications, anything that establishes Vanessa as primary actor. He's not testifying against me, Vanessa said. Spousal privilege doesn't apply to crimes committed jointly, Marcus finished. Vanessa turned to Daniel. If you testify against me, I'll make sure you lose everything. I have lawyers too. Daniel looked at her, then at me. Mom, what do I do? The room held its breath. I stood slowly. Walked until I was face to face with my son. You do what's right, not what's easy. You tell the truth. Accept responsibility. Help make sure this never happens again. Even if it costs me everything, even then, I put my hand on his shoulder. Your father said character is what you do when it's hard. This is hard, but it's right. He closed his eyes, nodded. Okay, I'll testify. I'll tell them everything. Vanessa's composure shattered. You bastard. After everything I did, you used me. Daniel looked at Marcus. What do you need? A formal statement, email access, testimony about who initiated each transfer. You'll have it. Vanessa grabbed her bag. This isn't over. Your attorney will be busy defending against federal wire fraud charges, Marcus said. The SEC received my report at 8 a.m. She stared at him, then at me. You couldn't just disappear quietly. You tried to erase me, I said. You failed. We'll see. She walked to the door, paused. Daniel, when you realize what you've done, don't come crying to me. Yes, he said. I did. She left. The door closed with a quiet click. Linda spoke first. What happens now? Now we secure the company, Marcus said. Freeze transfers, change passwords, file police report. Wait for investigation. And Vanessa? Daniel asked. That's up to the authorities. And your mother. Everyone looked at me. I thought about Thomas. About 32 years building something beautiful. About my son almost destroying it. I want her prosecuted, I said. Fully. But protect the company first. Marcus nodded. I'll start paperwork. The meeting adjourned. Board members filed out. Linda hugged me, whispering another apology. Janet squeezed my hand. Daniel remained at the table, alone. I sat across from him. I failed you, he said. Failed Dad. You made mistakes, but you chose right when it mattered. Is that enough? I don't know yet. Ask me in a year. Can I come home? Not the main house, the garage apartment. Let you have your house back. We'll figure it out. One step at a time. Mom? Yes? Thank you for not giving up on me. I reached across the table, took his hand. You're my son. I'll never give up on you. Outside, the sun was setting. The ambulance had come and gone empty. The truth was out. But the hardest part was still ahead. The part where we tried to build something new from the wreckage. 3 months later, I stood in the conference room where everything had started. Same glass table. Same view of San Jose sprawling below. But everything else had changed. Marcus Chen stood beside me reviewing documents. The board vote was unanimous. You're now interim CEO with full operational control for the next 18 months. And Daniel remains as VP of Operations, reporting directly to you. Probationary status. One mistake and he's out. I nodded. It was more than he deserved. Less than I wanted to give him. Vanessa's criminal trial starts in September, Marcus continued. Federal prosecutors are confident. Wire fraud, conspiracy, attempted elder abuse. She's looking at 8 to 12 years. And the offshore money? Frozen. The SEC seized $847,000. It'll be returned to the company after the trial concludes. He paused. There's also the Phoenix property. It's being liquidated. That's another $2 million coming back. I walked to the window. In the parking lot below, a security guard escorted someone to their car. Even from 7 floors up, I recognized the red suit. Vanessa. Today was her last day. I'd savored this moment for months, imagined exactly how it would feel to watch her leave. But now that it was happening, I felt only tired. Mrs. Chen? Marcus touched my arm. The press is waiting downstairs. Are you ready? The San Jose Mercury News, TechCrunch, 3 local TV stations. The story had exploded once the SEC filed charges. Tech startup CEO accused of elaborate fraud scheme. Daughter-in-law attempts to steal family business. The headlines wrote themselves. I'm ready. We took the elevator down. In the lobby, reporters crowded around. Cameras flashed. Microphones thrust forward. Mrs. Chen, how does it feel to take back your company? What message do you have for other family businesses facing internal fraud? Will you pursue additional civil charges against Vanessa Chen? I raised my hand. Silence fell. 3 months ago, someone I trusted tried to erase me. Tried to convince my son I was senile. Tried to steal a company my husband and I built from nothing. My voice stayed steady. She failed. Not because I'm special, but because I refused to disappear quietly. Because people like Richard Thornton and Marcus Chen stood with me. Because my sister Linda found her conscience. And because my son, despite his mistakes, chose truth over comfort. What's next for Chen Tech Solutions? We're rebuilding. Stronger leadership, transparent finances, and a renewed focus on innovation. The vision-forward platform that was stolen from me? We're launching it next month, under my name this time. And your relationship with your son? I paused. Cameras clicked in the silence. We're working on it, one day at a time. After the press conference, I returned to my office. Not the garage apartment, not the guest room, the corner office on the 7th floor that had been Thomas's, then briefly Daniel's, then Vanessa's. Now it was mine again. On my desk sat a cardboard box. Inside were my belongings from the garage apartment. My nameplate, photos of Thomas, the coffee mug Daniel gave me years ago, and something new. A small cactus in a ceramic pot with a note. Mom, I know it's not much, but cacti are survivors, like you. Daniel. I set the cactus on my desk next to Thomas's photo. A knock on the door. Richard Thornton entered, looking lighter than I'd seen him in months. The audit's complete. Everything's clean. No more surprises. Thank you, Richard. For everything. I should be thanking you for not throwing me under the bus when you could have. He sat down. I resigned this morning. What? Why? Because I can't work here anymore. Not after what I did. Even if it was to build evidence, I still took that money. I still stayed silent too long. He handed me an envelope. This is my resignation letter. And a check for $15,000. Every penny they paid me. Richard, you saved this company. Thomas saved it. He saw what Vanessa was before any of us. That's why he changed his will 3 years ago, remember? Made sure you retained controlling interest no matter what Daniel signed over. Richard stood. Take care of yourself, Maggie, and take care of that boy. He's got a long road ahead. After Richard left, I opened my laptop and reviewed the quarterly financials. The Green Logic's contract cancellation had hurt, but 3 new clients had signed on after seeing the press coverage. The company that fought back. One CEO called us. Revenue was up 12%. Morale was recovering. The bleeding had stopped. My phone rang. Daniel. Mom, can you come down to my office? There's something I need to show you. His office was 2 floors down, smaller than before, with a window facing the parking lot instead of the city. He sat at his desk surrounded by project reports and financial statements. I've been going through Dad's old files, he said. Found something you need to see. He handed me a letter, Thomas's handwriting, dated 2 weeks before he died. My dearest Maggie, if you're reading this, I'm gone and things have probably gotten bad. I've seen the way Vanessa looks at you. Like you're an obstacle. Like you're disposable. I've seen Daniel change since he married her. Become someone I barely recognize. I've made arrangements, legal protections, financial safeguards. But the most important thing I can leave you is this. Don't you dare let them make you invisible. You built this company as much as I did. More, maybe. You sacrificed everything for our dream. Fight for it, Maggie. Fight for yourself. And if Daniel ever finds his way back to who he really is, forgive him. He's weak right now, but he's still our son. Still has pieces of us inside him. I love you. I believe in you. And I'm sorry I won't be there to help you through what's coming. Always yours, Thomas. I wiped my eyes. Where did you find this? Hidden in his desk, behind a false panel. Daniel's voice was rough. He knew, Mom. He knew what Vanessa was. And he knew I was too blind to see it. He also knew you'd find your way back eventually. Did I? Or did I just choose the less terrible option when cornered? I looked at my son, really looked at him. He'd lost weight, hair grayer at the temples, lines around his eyes that hadn't been there 6 months ago. You chose, I said. That's what matters, not whether it was easy. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Probably not. But I'm giving it anyway, slowly, in pieces. I folded Thomas's letter carefully. Your father was right about one thing. You're still our son. Still have pieces of us inside you. The question is whether you'll let those pieces guide you forward. Daniel nodded. I moved my stuff into the garage apartment last weekend. Left the main house to you. It's where you belong. We could share the house. It's big enough. Not yet. I need to earn my way back. Prove I can be trusted. He stood. I have a meeting with the new compliance officer in 10 minutes. My third review this week. Good. Keep proving yourself. After he left, I sat at his desk and looked out at the parking lot. Vanessa's red Mercedes was gone. The space empty. My phone buzzed. A text from Linda. Dinner this weekend? My treat? I owe you about 100 dinners. I smiled and typed back. One is fine. Let's start there. Start. That evening, I drove home to 2156 Willow Glen Way. The main house was quiet. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. Everything was different. Daniel had moved out his and Vanessa's modern furniture, brought back pieces from storage. My favorite chair, the one Thomas bought for our anniversary. The oak dining table we'd eaten family meals around for 20 years. Photos of Thomas back on the walls. It looked like home again. In the garage apartment, lights were on. Through the window, I saw Daniel at the small table, working on his laptop. He looked up, saw me watching, and waved. I waved back. Inside the main house, I made tea and sat in Thomas's chair. On the mantel, our wedding photo smiled back. Thomas in his cheap suit, me in a borrowed dress, young and stupid and absolutely certain we could build something beautiful together. We'd been right. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mrs. Chen? A woman's voice. Young. Uncertain. Yes? This is Sarah Morrison. I'm a reporter with Forbes. I'm writing a feature about women over 60 rebuilding after betrayal. I'd love to interview you. I've done enough press. This would be different. Longer form, your full story, and I want to talk about what comes next. Not just the scandal, but the rebuilding. The choices you're making about forgiveness and family and legacy. I looked at Thomas's photo, at the house we'd built, at the lights still on in the garage apartment where my son was working late, trying to prove himself. What comes next? I repeated. Yes. Where do you go from here? I thought about that. About Daniel's cactus on my desk. About Linda's dinner invitation. About Richard's resignation and Vanessa's trial. And the company that had almost died but was now growing again. About forgiveness that came slowly, in pieces, earned day by day. I don't know yet, I said honestly. Ask me in a year. That's perfect. Can I quote you on that? Yes, you can. After I hung up, I sat in the quiet house and finished my tea. Outside, fog rolled in from the bay. The garage apartment light went off. A moment later, Daniel emerged and walked toward the main house. He knocked on the door. I opened it. I forgot my jacket, he said. Left it in the hall closet. Come in. He stepped inside, retrieved his jacket, then hesitated. The house looks good, like it used to. Like it should. Mom? His voice was small. Do you think you'll ever really forgive me? Not just say it, but feel it? I looked at my son, the man who'd betrayed me, the boy I'd raised alone after Thomas died, the person who'd finally chosen right when everything was on the line. I don't know yet, I said, but I'm trying. That has to be enough for now. He nodded. It is. It's more than enough. After he left, I locked the door and turned off the lights. Upstairs, I stood in the master bedroom where Thomas had died in my arms, where I'd spent 3 years sleeping in the guest room because it hurt too much to be here without him. Tonight, I reclaimed this room too. I climbed into bed and pulled Thomas's letter from my pocket. Read it again in the darkness. Don't you dare let them make you invisible. I hadn't. Despite everything, I'd fought back. Won back what was mine. Started rebuilding what had been broken, but the hardest work was still ahead. The work of deciding whether Daniel deserved a second chance, whether our family could ever be whole again, whether forgiveness was possible or just another word for giving up. I didn't have answers yet, but I had time. I had my company. I had my home. I had my dignity. And I had a son who was finally, slowly learning what it meant to be a man his father would be proud of. Whether that would be enough, I couldn't say. Ask me in a year.